Well, hello, hello. How is everyone doing today? Of course, Jessica has another social event that she's attending. And while I'm doing my live, let's see who is in the house. Oh, it looks like we have got a full house today. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Nora, first in the house today. Boomer in the Burbs is on board. Oh my goodness, what a week, what a week, what a week. I want to talk about things that are going on and how you all are coping. Are you overloaded with all of this bickering and fighting back and forth and everything going on? Whew, I know I am up to here in it. I don't know about you are with it. Hey, Vaughn's on a roll. Hello, hello. Uh um Miss Net. Oh, hey, Miss Net. Oh my goodness. Everyone's saying hello to everyone. CW Style 3 is in the house. Oh my goodness. Oh, it has been quite I think I'm a little bit at a slant. So I don't know. I may let me see if I can't adjust this a little bit. Maybe put a book or something under here to raise it a little bit. I think that's a little bit better. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think. Whew, get a little bit adjusted here. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up so I know that you guys can hear me. Um, who else is in here? Oh, Caroline Hannah's in the house. Uh, Janet from Oregon. Oh, I was looking at a video this morning, and it's someone who has a tiny house village in Oregon. I am going to be going around. I don't know when I'm going to start, maybe in October, but I'm planning on going around visiting different tiny house villages to get an idea of how even I don't have my property yet. I'm farming my ideas in my mind as to how I want it to go. And I saw one in Georgia that I've seen two that I really, really like. One's in Georgia and one is in Texas. And the one in Georgia, it had 8 houses, and they were 3 on one side, and then one it was like in a U shape, and then 4 on the other side, and one at the end, and in the middle, they had, like, gardens growing and, like, a fire pit, and I just really, really liked that setup, and, I'm the other one was more extensive. It had a lot more, houses, but, it had, excuse me, let me get this there. That's better. It had like a kitchen and a shower and everything. So that would be way down the line. But I've been looking. So coming up, I'm gonna be sharing some of these tiny house villages that I visit. Hey, Christina Merritt is in the house. Susie Aspen. Have I missed anyone? I think I've got everyone so far. Hey, Joy B. Hello, hello. Um, if I miss someone, come back and say hello again because you guys know sometimes I go so fast that I miss things. Annie and Spence, hello, hello. Linda Stokes is here. Oh my goodness. Patty, how's it going? Still in Corona. Finally had my eye surgery. Oh, that I had to put off caring for your dad. Your dad. It's going great and made a huge improvement. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that, Annie. I'm so, Annie. Patty, I'm looking at Annie and Spence's comment. I'm talking to Patty. I'm glad to hear that, Patty. And hopefully you are taking time now to really take care of yourself. And I know you were so busy taking care of your dad that you probably neglected yourself. So now's your time. I know you're still grieving. And I'm hoping that even as you go through this grieving process, that you're able to take care of yourself. I want to talk to you guys too. Oh my gosh, I am so, so, so angry about something that and what happened to Lindy in the hospital. I'm going to discuss that a little bit, but I'm going to do a video on it. She gave me permission to talk about it, but I am just steaming mad about it. And she shared a little bit on her video, and I'm sure she's going to share more. But oh my goodness, it was just unbelievable, unbelievable how they treated her. But anyhow, we're gonna get some attention to that, but I don't know how much attention Lindy wants on it. But anyhow, hey, Rose Grace, and Henri Codger. That could be my name a lot of the time too, Henri Codger over here. Vaughn's on a roll. Hey, hey. And Boomers in the Burbs is saying she's so glad Patty's doing better. We all are. We all are. Hey, Martina one. Hello, hello. I see that Nora got your address. I was not on the ball on that Martin one. I am sorry, but Nora got her address, so I know that she's going to get your book out to you if she hasn't already done so. Hey, Corinna Patin. I don't have my glasses on. Patain. How's everyone doing today? Well, I am doing great. How about you? I hope you're doing good too. It's everyone's saying hello. Jan Whittle says, did you see my earlier post about the 10 to 15,000 tiny home powered by solar that Elon Musk is developing? I've heard about them, but I haven't actually seen any of them that have been developed yet. So I'm waiting to see because his satellite thing for phones is very expensive. So I would be very surprised if it only is $10,000 to $15,000. But if it is, that's certainly something I'm going to look at. But I also have reached out to someone, and they reached out to me, and I got to get back with them about doing a tour of these cargo trailers that the lowest one price wise is about $15,000. The person who's building them said, I mean, they go all the way up to 60,000, but it's actually about the size of a ProMaster in size. I think it's 6 by 12, but it has a full shower, toilet, sink with stove top, refrigerator, a bed. Interesting thing is he has a bed that can come down from the ceiling on that happy jack kind of system, or a sofa, and the sofa can pull out and make into a bed. So it's a very small space, but I'm going to be looking at those. I'm looking at all the options. So I will absolutely look at Elon Musk's solar powered tiny houses if in fact they're only $10,000 to $15,000. I have had several people who have offered to work with me, helping me to build them, but I'm also really, really, really seriously considering doing shed to house conversions. That's what I think will probably be the most economical, because you can get some of those sheds for only about $10,000. You then have to build out the inside, but I'm going to do a lot of the grunt work, the work that doesn't take a lot of skill. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Who else is in the house? Have I missed anyone? Hey, Sylvie, how's it going? Hello, Three Generations. How are you doing? Miss Ned says, I saw Lindy's video and that was horrible what happened to her. Oh, it was despicable. It really was despicable. I think that this is a matter that should be reported to the Joint Commission on Hospital Accreditations in the state of California. She could have died. She could have died based on what I believe, in my opinion, was total incompetence. And I told her they should not be charging her one red cent for anything that she gets done there related to this. For that visit and for the surgery that they do, they should not charge her one dime. But that's a whole nother matter. But anyhow, hey, Laura. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Yeah, I have been, oh my gosh, encountering and getting so many comments from older people, women and men. More women, but I think that women just are more vocal and we talk about things more than men do. But there are a lot of men that are out there living, forced to live in cars and vehicles too, because they can't afford rent. And the story that I told you all about, the elderly woman in her 80s, that just broke my heart. It absolutely broke my heart that each year she would watch her rent go up and have to cut back more and more and more. I have people who've even written to me telling me that they're only eating every other day. These are seniors. They've cut down so much that they're only eating every other day in order to afford their rent. That's crazy. That's just insane that in this country, that one of the richest in the world, that we have people in that circumstance, seniors. It's just crazy. Um, hey, Laura Davis. Oh, I just said hello to Laura. Well, hello again, Laura. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you, Nora. Martin, I received the book. Okay, great. You're on the job, Nora. You're on the job. Uh, CW Style says, I'm doing well, Carol. I'm glad you're doing well. Oh my goodness. Part of doing well really has a lot to do. I mean, there's some things that a positive attitude is not going to overcome, but a lot of it has to do, it was Charles Swindoll, a pastor, used to say that what he had learned in life was that 90% of what happened, how your life turned out, was how you responded to things that happened to you, and 10% was based on what actually happened. I mean, unless it's something so devastating that, no one could recover. But generally speaking, your response and your reaction to what happens to you in life has such a huge bearing on how things turn out, whether you decide to be bitter or whether you decide to take it as a lesson and move forward, whether you get stuck. So many people get stuck, something happens and they get stuck in that situation. I remember I met a woman, this has been many years ago, and it has stayed with me. She had married a man, and he left her, I guess, after maybe about 12 or 13 years of marriage, to go back to the girlfriend that he had when she met him. Anyhow, I met her 10 years after they had divorced, and when she would talk about it, it was like it was yesterday. The venom, the anger, the emotion, and she had never moved forward. I thought, for 10 years you're living in this? I was like, and I was a very young woman when I met her, and I thought, God, please help me, no matter what happens in life, not to get that stuck. Now, I have been stuck in some things for a minute, I have to admit, but I'm like, I always think back to that and think, okay, God, her whole life, she never moved forward. Her whole life was talking about, and she would share, how terrible, and it was just horrible. It was horrible, to watch and to hear. But anyhow, um, Linda says, going through a really tough time right now, could really use the prayers. Thank you. Oh, Linda, I'm so sorry to hear that. Let's just have a word of prayer right now. Dear Lord, we just ask, and everyone, if you would just enter in prayer, because the Bible says that if two or more are gathered, that he's present. So just ask that, Lord, that you would just come into Linda's life, encourage her, whatever the situation may be. You know what the best outcome is for her. We ask that you would facilitate that outcome. And in the meantime, until that happens, that you would encourage her, bring people around her that would truly be the wind beneath her sails, and would be people who will uplift her and hold her up in this difficult time that she's going through. I'm so sorry to hear that, Linda, and praying that things get better and that your circumstances change to a situation that's best for you. Hello, Christina. Oh, I'm with you, Linda. You have my prayers. Oh, thank you, Christina. Thank you. Oh my goodness, all these people in here saying this and encouraging Linda. Thank you, everyone. You guys are I'm telling you, that you are the best. The best. What can I say? There is no better group on YouTube, I don't think. But of course, I'm biased, but even though I'm biased doesn't mean it's not true. Okay. Uh thank you, Boomer in the Burbs. Oh my goodness. Uh Miss Net, everyone, everyone is just so encouraging here. Stacy White says, I just do not the clutter around me I don't let the clutter around me steal my joy. That's so true. That's so true. It's not only physical clutter. that can, bog us down and weigh us down. Emotional clutter can really weigh us down. And that's what it is. It's really clutter. It's clutter that Clutter is something that is of no use and it just occupies space. And that's what happens when we have emotional clutter. It occupies space in our minds and in our hearts and in our souls that could be better occupied and used by putting something else in that space. Thank you, everyone, for being so encouraging to Linda. Caroline says, shed to house conversion sounds great. I was just looking at some last night at Home Depot. There are some beautiful ones. You know what's so interesting? Here in California, I've looked at some and they're kind of expensive. But my brother, where he's living in North Carolina, you can pick up used ones or repossessed ones for literally $3,000 for a huge one, whereas here it would cost maybe $12,000 for the same one. It's unbelievable how much difference the price is on the East Coast or at least in North Carolina. But I've seen some very, very interesting tiny homes on Facebook Marketplace. So there was one, it was only like $1,500. It was insulated, it had a glass door. I was like, "Oh my goodness." But I didn't get out to see it in time. But even if I see it, I still don't have anywhere yet to put it. So that's the price, because I would have bought one of Randy Jones's when he had those um, on sale for $15,000, but I didn't have anywhere to put it yet. Of course, now they're nowhere near that anymore. But yeah, you know who else, Caroline, had some? They had some at Costco. Costco sometimes has a show with these. Now, they had that little plastic one that I showed, but they have a show sometimes where they will have wood ones, and they're really beautiful and I think really great prices. One of the things that I look for these sheds is I want to make sure that the construction is consistent, at least in some of the details, with regular home construction, where the studs are closer together as opposed to further apart. Some of these sheds, the studs are really far apart, but I want them close together for support. Hey Piggy, hello, hello. How's it going? Jan says so many hospitals seem to be trying and often succeeding in killing the elderly. I think it's just an absolute lack of concern. And she was telling me about one of the nurses who was really nasty to her. But this is at Sutter Hospital in Sacramento. So yeah, but I'll tell you, I'll get into it in a little bit, but I'm not going to go into full detail because I'm going to do that on a video next week. But hey, Debbie Johnson, hello, hello. Shirley Griffin says, going to the gym helped me and getting fresh sunlight. Yes, yes, yes. Whoo, sun. A lot of people who live in Alaska during the winter, they have, I forget, there's a term for it, but it's like when you have deprived from sunlight, you really get depressed. It's a condition. And a lot of people in Seattle too, where it rains so much and often you don't have sun. I mean, I can go, up to maybe 4 or 5 days or maybe even a week, but I need some sunlight. It just I don't know. It just like it helps plants to grow, it helps me to, come out and be positive. So yeah, get out there and get some sun. That's important. Boomer in the Burb says these are important issues. We need your voice. Thank you. Oh, I tell you, I don't know why we don't, as seniors, get together and collectively agree on certain things and then have like a system where across the country, certain things that if politicians or people who are running for office, if they don't commit to doing certain things, they don't get our vote. And if they are in office and they don't do them, out. They're out. We boot them the heck out of there. And one of the things is that they don't reduce Medicare. They don't reduce Social Security for us, because a lot of these politicians have been talking a long time about doing that. And that they don't, some of the we just need more tax breaks, but and quit giving these tax breaks to wealthy folks who can afford to pay their taxes and not us. We really need, and seniors. We should get, after you get a certain age, you should get just a certain break in general for having lived this long. I think at a certain age, maybe 70, that there should be a certain I don't know, like you have child tax credit. We should have an elderly tax credit. Yeah, an elderly tax credit from 70 on up. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Von Zetterell is saying hi, Piggy rather. I smarted when I saw your snorted when I saw your name. That is funny. Hey, Bitty Boo Brown. Hello, hello. I am having a glorious day. I'm having an absolute glorious day. Thank you. I hope you are too. Hey, Judy. Hello, world traveler going to Alaska and everywhere. Oh my goodness. Uh, uh, Nora says, "Hi, Bitty Boo. Cool nickname. That is. That is." Sylvie says, "SSI gave me a cost of living increase, but Snap reduced my more than half." That is crazy. That is crazy. I mean, they don't just say, okay, well, you got $30 more. We'll take $30 away from SNAP. First of all, they shouldn't do that. But no, you get $30 more. They're going to take gobs more away. So you end up worse off than you were. And that's another thing. That's another thing we should get together. And anyone who is not supporting stopping that, toss them the heck out. They should, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Don't get me started. That was not what I was going to get on today, but I can go down that rabbit hole and go forever on that. Oh my goodness. Hey, Violet at Content Boutique. Hello, hello. Uh, um, Everyone's saying hello. Biddy Boo says, thank you, Nora. It was my little pug's name after she passed. I used her name here in her honor. Aw, that's so cool. That's so nice. That's so cool. Uh, Everyone's saying hello to everyone. Hey, Chrissy Joy, good morning from Australia. Oh, crazy old world lately. It is. And I want to get around to that in a couple minutes. So I have two things I want to talk about. Share with you what some of the things that Lindy and I talked about, what happened to her, and also talk about what's happening, at least in our country. And it's not just in our country. I see it going on in France and Germany. There's such division. And it's not just division where people just don't agree. It's division where if you don't agree with me, you are no good. I want to destroy you. And it's got to stop. It really has to stop. I know people who stop talking to people because they don't want the same candidate. I mean, when did that happen that we can't have differences of opinion and still be friends? When did that happen? Because it seems more and more that that's happening. You know, now if you're, for something really terrible, just because you believe something that I don't believe, I have to all of a sudden you're enemy number one. Oh, so what are you guys doing? Are you guys turning off the television? Are you tuning out? I have to admit, I find myself addicted to watching all this stuff. And, it is getting addicted. I feel like a gambler, but I'm a conflict addict or something. I don't know, but it's not good. I realize it's not good. And I'm having to back away because the more you listen to this, I think it does something to you, and we may not even realize the impact it's having. But there's such turbulent times and so much we against them or they or others. And what do you guys think some of the solution is to stop some of this? Not just to stop the impact to us personally, but to maybe stop it in the country. And I don't want to get into politics, oh, this person's terrible, that person's terrible, we should hate. I don't want to get into that. But what emotionally, what do you think we can do to maybe change things and have the tone and how things are going? Um, hey, Debbie is saying hi to Nora. Um, Carol, this reminds me of that movie Acrimony by Tyler Perry. Ooh, I haven't seen that. I'll have to watch that. Um, but what was that movie? Remember that movie years ago called The War of the Roses? Didn't they end up destroying each other? And that's what I think can happen. You can end up combusting both of us, both sides. That's just my opinion. Thank you, Debbie, praying for Linda. Um, Everyone's saying amen, amen. Hey, Allison, my good friend Allison from Travel Snacks YouTube. Go over and watch some of her videos. They're very interesting and also entertaining. But it's good to see you, Travel Snacks, Allison. And Violet at Content Boutique says, doing my best to let go of the memories of the creeps of the past too. Yeah, here's what happens, and I found this to be true. A lot of times we harbor this anger, and we're so upset with the other person, and we're thinking terrible things about them, which might be justified. I'm not saying that's not. But that person's gone on with their life. They're living their best life. And not only did they do to us what they did or harmed us in the way they harmed us, they now have taken our thoughts captive, and they now have enslaved us to this life of anger and bitterness. And I just don't want to give evil people like that kind of control over my future, over my present and my future. They already had too much, perhaps, of my past. So I don't want them to have my present and my future. And that's what I think is the point of letting go. Not that they deserve, anything good, but you don't deserve, we don't deserve, I don't deserve to be miserable while they're living their best life. They leave a path of destruction, and then la 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 fa da whatever. They go on their merry way. So I just don't want to give them that that much real estate in my mind, Violet says, oh yeah, we just read that. Oh, you're welcome, Linda, and all of these people. I hope that was just a tiny bit of encouragement to you, and that we can be a little bit of the wind beneath your sails here on Saturday. Nora says, for some people, staying in that negative space is how they function. That's true. It's all they know, and they hold on to it for their sense of victimhood or power. That is true. Some people love being victims because it's something they relish, because it's something that they get something out of. In other words, as they tell the story, they get they get sympathy, they get this, they get that. So to some degree, there are some people who do that because they're getting something out of it. I agree, Nora. There are some people that just don't know how to let go. And I think if someone could guide them through it, they would, but they just don't. And emotions, just like other behaviors, can become a habit, and a habit is hard to break. And an emotional habit, I think, can even be harder to break, you know. But happy Saturday to you, Marco Polo, too. Oh my goodness. Uh yes, Caroline. I'm sorry. What did I say? Oh, let me get my glasses next time. Yes, Corinna. Prayers for all. Absolutely. Caroline says, keep your head up, Linda. Things will get better. I pray that they will, Linda. I really pray. And I think with all the prayers going forward, it can't help but head in that direction. Hey, Lois, says God's blessings to you, Linda. Thank you, Lois, for that word of encouragement. Violet also says, amen. Best luck, Linda. Boomer in the Burb says, I saw that movie too, Vaughn. You are right. I'm going to have to watch that movie. I am definitely going to have to watch that movie. Hey, Adele. Hello, hello. Yes, thank you. Prayers for Linda and Lindy. Yes, yes. Do prayers for Lindy. She's having major, I think, quadruple bypass surgery um, on Thursday. So please, prayers up, sending prayers up for Lindy. And not only physically, but mentally, that after all she went through at that hospital, that stinking place, that she's able to get herself into the right frame of mind. Because it's kind of hard when you go through something terrible at a location and then you have to go back to that location. It can be hard to readjust so quickly, because when I talked to her, she was really traumatized. And fortunately, there were a couple of really bad actors, in my opinion, there, but there were a couple of doctors who just were blessings, and thankful to her. But yeah, I do pray for Lindy. Thank you for that, Adele. Um, uh, oh, Vaughn's on a Roll says, Boomer, that was an epic level of bitterness. Oh my goodness, I really have to watch it. Oh my goodness. Uh, Debbie saying, Biddy Boo, love the name after your pug. Yeah, that is so cool. Uh, oh, thank you. Sandra Ivy Jones says, uh, love the, um, I'm sorry, it's Standra Ivy Jones. Thank you. Says, love your content, sister. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I really try to put time into the videos that I make in terms of, and when I'm doing one that really has facts and numbers, I try and vet it and really get the accurate information. Like when I did the one on the insurance, the Medicare, I'm not an expert in Medicare. And for me to try and explain it, I felt it was better to bring on an expert who could really give you the accurate skinny. And he did. Greg did such a fabulous job. If you haven't seen that live and you have questions about Medicare, go back and even you can look him up and contact him. But he really laid out and explained some things very well. But I do try and get information that's accurate. And I do try and interview people who are going through some of the same things that my viewers are experiencing. Like when I interviewed Lizzie, and she was sharing how, she had to retire during the or quit working during the pandemic. Either that or she lost her job. I forget. But anyhow, she had to go on Social Security and she went on early at 62. So she took a big hit. So she shared how she's working part-time at a senior citizen center, but she also has a roommate, or she's a roommate to someone who owns a home, a very dear friend of hers. So I try and share how people are maneuvering these waters that we're going through financially, medically, emotionally. So, and show what others are going through, and sometimes share what has worked for them. Like Lindy, the video that I did, if you haven't seen it, I posted a video on Thursday, and I haven't posted another because I want that to be seen by everyone that can. Lindy shared some really, I thought, valuable tips on what to do if you find yourself in a situation that you can no longer afford your rent and you're going to have to move into a vehicle, maybe a car, maybe a van, maybe a RV, but you're moving into something that you never thought you would be moving into. And I get so many emails and comments about people who are telling me, if my rent goes up one more time, I know I'm not going to be able to stay in this apartment. Or if my rent goes up one more time, I'm going to have to stop taking my medication. Or if my husband or wife or partner dies, I won't be able to pay the mortgage or the rent because we were barely making it on two incomes. So I'll never be able to make it on just one. I mean, I if you just read some of the comments that were even on the video from Lindy that I did this past Thursday, the last video, it's really amazing how many people are in those circumstances and how many seniors. That's what's so tragic to me. And that's why I think there should be a senior tax credit um, at age 70, maybe even 65, but definitely a tax credit like a child tax credit, senior tax credit. Um, but let's see. Biddy Boo is saying thank you at Debbie Johnson. Okay. Um, keeping up with Colorado. Oh, hello, Lori. How are you doing? How are you doing? Glad to see you in the house. Be praying for Lindy to come through her surgery well. Me too. Lindy is really a dear friend, and I'm praying vigilantly. Our it says the what does the Bible say? The fervently, the fervent prayers of a righteous man availeth much. So I don't know how righteous I am all the time. I try to be, but I am trying to be, and certainly am praying fervently for her. Um, let's see who else is in the house. Sandy D says California is no joke when it comes to pricing. No, it's not. But I'll tell you what, it's not going to be limited to California. I was looking at prices in Boise, Idaho over the last 3 years. They've tripled. They're having price wars, price bidding wars when you go to try and buy a house there. If you look in areas in Tennessee like Nashville, if you look in Texas, a lot of areas in Texas, especially like Austin and many other areas, Vermont, because so many people moved up to Vermont to get away from things during the pandemic, that prices in Vermont have tripled. I mean, so it's not just California now. Our gas is crazy. It's just off the chain. And the housing is very, very expensive. But even though some other places are not as expensive, they're creeping up, you know? So pretty soon, I don't know if there's going to be any safe havens in terms of from rent. I just don't know why more seniors don't go into roommate or shared housing situations. I'd love to see people bring back the idea of boarding houses where you have your own room and there's common areas and maybe there's one meal provided, either breakfast or dinner. I just think that would be I think there would be so many people who would sign up for something like that those places would have waiting lists. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Anyhow, hey, Woodland Gardener says jumping in late and happy to catch you live. Hello. Glad you did catch us live. Please push the like, you all. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Three Generations. I always forget to ask you guys that, but do hit that like button. It does help. It helps with the algorithm. I can't explain it, but it does. So hit that like button if you will. Boomer in the burb says saying hello and keeping up. Well, I'm glad you are, Boomer. Piggy says good luck doing anything cheap with all the peon bureaucrats. Yeah, we just have to hold people accountable. When they make promises, we have to hold them accountable for keeping them, and we have to make sure that our issues as seniors are on their agenda, because we're a huge voting block, and seniors tend to vote. So I don't think we're utilizing the power that we have to the extent that we could use it. But anyhow, let me share a little bit about, I'm going to get back to the comments. I'm going to go away from I'm going away from the comments for a minute to talk about Lindy. Okay, I'm going to give you just a brief overview. First of all, when I went into I'm just saying this, I'm not trying to take over talking about my experience, but I want to do this based on comparison. When I went into the hospital for my surgery recently, from the minute I walked into the hospital, there was a nurse assigned to me. They came over, they asked me if there was anything I needed. They had to get an IV going. They brought me juice. They said, oh no, I take it back. It wasn't juice. What was it? Because I couldn't have juice. I know they brought me these towelettes, these warm towelettes. I was confusing that with another time. They brought me these warm towelettes after the surgery. They brought me juice, but they brought me warm towelettes. Anything I wanted. I mean, it was in a hospital setting, but the only mishap, and this is really not a mishap, it was just me being grouchy, was that I wanted to do a video of me in the hospital, and the person gave me the wrong password, and they couldn't figure out the password, and that just made me so annoyed, which was ridiculous. When I listened to Lindy, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like at the Ritz, the way they treated me. There was someone constantly with me. Within about 10 minutes of getting back there, they said, we need to take your vitals and do this and blah, 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 blah. And as soon as we get through this, we'll let your brother, because my brother had flown down to be with me for the surgery, to be with me and Jessica. They said, we'll go get your brother and your daughter, because Jessica was with him. So as soon as I got checked in, the vitals taken, everything, they immediately went and got my brother. They went and brought him back. He was there with me for the entire time until I went into surgery. And I just can't tell you, I didn't encounter one person who was not pleasant or who was mean or talked to me in a nasty tone. I mean, they asked me when I was getting ready to go to the bathroom, had to get up. They said, do you need help? I mean, it was just, and there were several people interacted with me, but I had one that was there for the entire time, and other people came in, and each person would explain what they were going to do, and they had a problem getting the IV in, so they called, they said, we're going to call someone from our anesthesiology department because I don't want to keep poking you. And Lindy said, I think they poked her 7 times to try and get blood. But they said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to get, and then he brought down this little thing. It's like a little device that you put over so it finds the vein. And then he showed me how this vein, certain veins do go down and arteries go up. I don't know what it was, but he showed me everything, and he was very kind. And he constantly say, is this hurting? Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me try. Oh, I don't want to poke you. Now compare that to what Lindy experienced. Her son brought her there. They brought her back. She said the very first thing, there was a male nurse. As she's walking back, and Lindy kind of has a little problem walking sometimes. As she's walking back, the nurse points and says, go in there, in that tone, according to Lindy. And I have no reason to doubt her account. And she said he pointed, so she said there was 2 empty places, so she didn't know which cubicle or which, bed area. He goes, that one, can't you see where I'm pointed? Get in there. Well, I didn't say get in there, I'm sorry. He said, go on in that one and take off your clothes. I think he said, down to your underwear, and just lay on the bed. And he asked her, he said, I'm pointing to there. Can't you see that's where I'm pointing? That's the tone, and that's how he talked to someone who's going in, getting ready to go into surgery. Ooh, Sookie. If I had been back there and he talked to my mom like that, it would have been on, okay? But anyhow, so she goes back there. She lies down. They throw her, I think they gave her a gown or something, or there was a gown on there. They left her back there for a couple of hours, she said, at least. No one checking on her. No one coming to see, are you okay? They didn't get her son for hours. When she's on this hard board in there, scared witless, not knowing, and she starts to have pain in her chest. I'll tell you about the rest of it when I do the video next week, but it was just unreal. And like I said, I think there was someone at a hospital, I think it was in the same area. I don't think it was the same company, but a person went into the emergency room with chest pains. They left him in the emergency waiting room, apparently for, I don't know what, 8, 10, but it was a number of hours. And he ended up dying of a heart attack in the waiting room at the emergency room. This could have very easily happened to Lindy based on what happened to her in there afterwards. Like I said, This place, I would get through the surgery and then it would be hell on wheels because this is just unacceptable. And I was so, when she was telling me this, she was so traumatized when she was telling me this. I was so angry that she was like, okay, Carol, calm down, calm down. And I had to think, okay, now I can't get her upset. I'm getting so upset that I'm upsetting her. So let me calm down. But I was just enraged as she was telling me this. I was like, who does this? And that nurse should be fired. And a couple of other people I think should be fired too. But that nurse who spoke to her like that and treated her like that, they should be absolutely fired. And but anyhow, I'll go into it more in my video. But when you're in the hospital, you absolutely need an advocate. Unfortunately, they didn't let her son back there for hours, but you need an advocate, especially if you're sick. I remember when my mom was in the hospital, I was sitting in her room and they were bringing her blood pressure had dropped really low, but she was on high blood pressure medication to lower her blood pressure. They were bringing in her blood pressure medication to lower her blood pressure when it was already abnormally low. So I asked the nurse, like, what is that you're bringing in? Oh, it's her blood pressure medication. I said, have you checked her blood pressure rate lately? It's very low. Why would you give her something to lower it even more? Oh, well, let me go check with the doctor. Let me go check. I'm telling you, these folks will kill you if you don't watch it. But anyhow, that's my rant. And I'm going to really go on a rant in my video next week. But I'm going to try and I am going to give the administrator of the hospital an opportunity to say their piece and explain themselves. There is no excuse, but I'll give them a chance because I believe in fair journalism, giving both sides a chance. So I'm going to give the administration at the hospital an opportunity to explain why they were so incompetent and worthless, in my opinion, and I'll let you know if they respond. But anyhow, that's it for now. Moonstar says, Patty says, so sorry for Lindy's experiences. I have to say my dad was treated very well at Riverside Kaiser. I'm so happy for you, Patty, because the worst thing is to have a sick loved one in the hospital and have them treat them poorly. I was very impressed with my treatment at Corona Hospital. I am so happy for you. That really makes it so much easier than going through what Lindy went through. Moonstar says, I stay away from hospitals and doctors, but sometimes you can't, Moonstar. Some things you really need to get checked out and treated, Keeping Up with Colorado says, praying for Linda. Thank you for that. And I know Linda on here appreciates that. Everyone's saying hello to everyone. Caroline says they haven't built our new Costco here yet, but I will look at some when I drive to Dallas. I think you can go on. I haven't checked it out, but I think you may be able to go online. But they had a road show, and sometimes when they have road shows, they bring in stuff to Costco that they don't normally have. Three Generations says cabin fever. Patty says, I've been treated well by most of my VA doctors at Loma Linda. Well, that's very good, Patty. You're very fortunate. Noreen, hi, Noreen. Hello. I get sad to have to keep up with taking my vitamin D, and sunlight helps the most. Yes, sunlight does help the most. What I put me and Jessica on was a regimen of vitamin C. This was during COVID, and to help immune system, at vitamin D, zinc, and vitamin C. But also recently I was reading, so I got some magnesium. Now there were two different magnesiums at Costco. One said it helped with gastrointestinal, and since I was having, and heart, and the other one helped with emotional regulation or something. So I got that one for Jessica, and I got the one for the heart. But I'll show you, maybe if I remember next week, I'll show you what I did. But my doctor was telling me, my cardiologist, that I need to also be taking magnesium. I don't understand why, but I trust her, so I'm taking it. Adele says, seasonal affective disorder. Thank you, Adele. That is the name for it. Seasonal affective disorder, when there's so much absence of sunshine and you just get, And A, thank you, A, saying that too. Keeping up with Colorado saying hi to Miss Net. Yeah, thank you, A. It is seasonal affective. That's what it is. I was trying to remember that. Boomer in the Burb says, I broke my wrist recently. Ooh. And my hospital ER was sadly pathetic. Well, I had a lot of trepidation about going into the hospital when I had my surgery. I did not want to go to that hospital. I did not, because I had, when I had taken Jessica there, when she was having problems with her asthma, it was horrible. It was horrible in the ER. I mean, there was a kid in there who had fallen off his um, bike or something, and he was about to go to sleep. And I was telling his dad, don't let him go to sleep. He might have a concussion. There was an older woman, maybe in her 70s or older, and she was throwing up into a bucket. And she had been there. We'd been there an hour, and she was throwing up the entire time. So, and I learned from my mom that older people and young children can become dehydrated rapidly and go into kidney failure. But no one was coming out re-triaging anyone, checking to see, are they getting worse? And I yanked Jessica out of there. I told them, I said, we're out of here. And they're like, well, you can't, you haven't seen. I said, oh no, you checked us in. You haven't done anything. I see that you're about to kill everyone in this waiting room. And they weren't killing him, but I was being a little bit dramatic, I must admit. I said, so we're out of here and we're going to a decent hospital. So when it came time and I had to go to that hospital, because that's where the person who's doing the surgery had benefit, had what privileges, I was like, oh my gosh, this is not good. But the experience, because I told the nurse that, the first nurse that came up to me, I said, you know what, I'm not feeling too happy about being here. And I explained, and they said, you know what, this is not the emergency room. This is a whole different circumstance from the emergency room. And I said, but it's under the same administration. So if you got a screwed up emergency room, it's the same administrator administrating the emergency room as the surgery. And they told me, they said, I can guarantee you will have very different treatment in this unit. And I did. Thank the Lord. Thank you, God. I did. Very different treatment. But yeah, emergency rooms, Boomer in the Burbs, ooh, it can be, it can be just terrible. Hey, Lindy. Oh my goodness, Lindy's in the house. Oh my goodness, Lindy. Do you want to come up and say hello to everyone? I can understand if you don't. Or you know what? I'll drop a link, and if you're up to it, but if you're not up to it, I absolutely understand. I don't want to, I shouldn't even ask you if you wanted to, because you're well, let me know if you want to. I'm not going to even drop the link, because I know that you're resting and getting prepared for Thursday, and I don't want to get you all hyped up. I want you to stay calm. Go to your place. But I'm so glad to see you here, Lindy. Happy to see you in the house. And prayers have been going forward for you. People in the house are praying for you. So you're going in there armed with prayer and good wishes. So you like, when I went into my surgery, I felt like I was going in with an army around me, because of all the prayers that had gone forward and gone forth for me. So you're going in with an army around you, Lindy. Hey, Violet at Content Boutique says, UCLA is the only place I trust. I went there in the 70s. Stay away from Cedar Sinai. Oh, worked there too. Okay, I was thinking Cedar Sinai was good. Well, thank you for letting me know there. If I'm ever up there, I will make it a point to go to UCLA. Everyone's saying hello to Lindy. Vaughn's on a row says, no sun messes with my naturally sunny disposition. Me too. Me too, Vaughn. Me too. Boomer and the Bird said, my surgeon was a gift from heaven, though. Well, thank goodness there was a spot of sunshine in that cloudy experience. Thank goodness, Boomer and the Bird. Sometimes one person can just help you to keep holding on in a bad situation like that emergency room. Nora says, saying hi to Lindy. So surprised to see you here. Hope you're doing okay. Yes, everyone's saying hello to Lindy. Guys, go over, because I don't know how many, videos Lindy's going to be able to make, because she's going to be going through surgery. Go over, would you guys, and would you play her playlist? And if there's not a complete playlist, go through and run through every single one of her videos and run them, would you guys, to get her views up? Because when you're not making videos, you're not generating income. So if any of you would go over there and just, it doesn't cost you a thing to just run through all of them. And I think Lindy has a I think she has a, what do you call that when you, I have one, but I can't even remember what it's called. But it's something that if you want to donate, you can. So if you want to, Cash App, I think Lindy has a Cash App. So if anyone, I'm not asking anyone to do anything that you can't do, please. But if, and Lindy didn't ask me to do this, and I know she's probably embarrassed that I'm doing it, so I'm probably stepping out of my lane. I know that, but that's okay. I step out of my lane all the time. Anyone who knows me knows that about me. But do watch her. Those of you who not in a position to send over a little coffee donation on Cash App to Lindy, do go over and watch her videos. That's a way for free. You can run all her videos and watch them from start to finish through any commercials at the beginning and at the end, and that can help keep her going while she is kind of bedridden and away from making a lot of videos, because she is bedridden right now and will be for some time after she gets out of the hospital, because that's an ordeal to go through at any age, but at 77, that's quite something to go through. So anyhow, sorry, Lindy. I know I probably embarrassed you, but hey, I know you'll forgive me. All right. Yes, Biddy Boo. I'm gonna drop a link just in case, but no expectations and no um uh pressure. Let me put this link up. Well, hey, who Hey who? I rarely get a link up on the first time, but I got it up this time. So if you're up to it, Lindy, but if not, we all understand. But do rest, stay on bed, rest, follow your doctor's directions, so you'll be um, ready and in good physical and mental condition to go through this surgery. Um Moonstar says, yes, elder tax credit. I know. I've never heard anyone talk about that. I don't get why. That should, to me, that's a no-brainer. An elder tax credit. How helpful would that be to all of us, especially people who are on low income as elders? Absolutely. I think I'll write to whoever is elected and ask them to do an elder tax credit. Sandy D says, I'm not kidding. My sis had breast cancer in 2011. She survived that. They now 2 lumps in her left breast, needs a biopsy. It took the medical optimum, I think, over a month to schedule it. I just don't even know what to say, Sandy. I don't know what to say, because I've experienced some of the same thing, trying to get something scheduled. One thing I can say, though, is if I've had problems getting I have a great doctor, great primary doctor. I've had problems getting an appointment scheduled other than maybe 2 or 3 months out. I will call my doctor's office and tell them that and ask them if they can help. And I've got an appointment the very following week. So maybe this is just if you have that kind of relationship with your doctor. My doctor has been my doctor for like over 30 years. So if you have that kind of relationship, your doctor might be willing to make a phone call for you, and or your doctor's office, and that could help possibly get in sooner. That's just a little tidbit I want to give you guys. But yeah, that's disgusting, Sandy. That really is. Violet at Content Boutique says Medicare for all. Bernie knows. Well, I would be up for Medicare for all. What kind of civilized country doesn't have medical coverage for its citizens? I mean, come on now. Especially, we're not talking about a country that is a poor, impoverished country. We're talking about a very wealthy country here. Keeping Up with Colorado is wishing Lindy well. Boomer in the Burb says, yep, tax credit, elder tax credit. Everyone, Vaughn and everyone's saying, wishing Wendy well. Sylvie saying, UCLA hospital is the best. I had my son there. Well, thank you guys for saying that. I think UCLA had Susan Love there, and she was a doctor. Her specialty was women's health and particularly breast cancer, and she's done a lot of research and a lot of work. Susan Love, look her up. She's very, very um, up to date on things involving breast cancer for women. Um, yeah, Sandy D was talking about. Yeah, Sandy, they do. It's not only SNAP that is reduced if you get an increase in um your Social Security. Also, you can have an increase in your rent, which one of the ladies did that I interviewed recently. You can also, well, we were all getting increases in our Medicare cost. I mean, so it's just like if a person, a single mom or dad is on welfare, they go out and get a job that maybe pays them, you know, $1,600 a month or $2,000 a month, but then they lose their child care. They may lose their housing. They may lose their food stamps. So if they've lost more than the $2,000 that they're earning, it's a total disincentive. People and the system should incentivize you trying to do better, but instead it whatever you want to call it, but it demotivates you. Is that even a word? But why would anyone, unless a person really had a lot of fortitude and could see, okay, I can make it through this period and had family to support them, why would you go out and get a job if it was going to make you lose everything else? And if you lose your childcare, how are you going to even work the job? It's just crazy. It is just, whoever set up this system, I think, I don't know if they set it up intentionally in the beginning, but I'm thinking now that this system is set up to keep people in poverty. So many of the systems are set up like that. Okay, that's just my rant. Violet says, yep, cost of living raises should go across the board. Yep. Moonstar says, nutrition is so important. We need higher income levels before SNAP is reduced. Absolutely. I agree. Uh, Hello, Violet. Hello. Cindy Craven says, so many of these things that affect our everyday lives are controlled by local government. That's true, too. Most people I know never vote in their local elections. There's so much of this craziness slips through. Local governments have a lot to do, often with providing um, um, low income housing. They also have a whole lot to do with whether they're hostile towards nomads and have all the signs up, no parking overnight. They also make rules about whether you can have a tiny house in your backyard, whether you can sleep in a vehicle on your own property. They make so many, you're so right, Cindy. Local governments have a lot of influence over our lives. And those elections, those city council members, they have a lot of influence on things that impact us on a daily, day-to-day basis. So those elections are also very important too. And going to those city council meetings. Everyone's saying hello to everyone. Hey, PR Brookman, hello, hello. Um, well, folks, do you know? Keeping Up with Colorado says, welcome new Globies to the chat. Yes, it is 10 after 4, and I am going to have to get the flock out of here. So I'm sorry if I didn't get to all of your comments, but I do like giving each one the time that they warrant. But for those of you who are new, this is your first time in the house, and I've seen a lot of newbies in the house today, and I'm so happy to see you, along with my regular OGs, original Globies. But could you put a number 1 if this is your first time in the house, so I can acknowledge you as a new Globie? And if you're a content creator, would you put a C for content creator, so I can also acknowledge you and people can go over there and watch your videos? And don't forget to go over and watch Lindy's videos. Sylvie says, so many elders are so poor they do not have to pay any taxes. That's true. Then there could be some other credit that they get, food credit. I don't know, but some other credit that they would get. I have to think about that one, but that's a good point, Sylvie. Sandy D says, if I stop talking to people that don't believe in my choices for president, I would have no friends. Isn't that the truth? If we stop talking to everyone who thought differently from us, first of all, we would live in a very insular world. We would never get any other opinions. We would never grow as people. Um, yeah, that is so crazy to me. But hey, you know what? It is what it is, and people have the right to do as they choose. Martin says, still hot here in Southwest Ohio. Will cool off next week. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that because it's been very pleasant, and we're actually starting to feel a little bit like fall here almost, which is a big welcome after all the heat that we've had the last few weeks. Um, Everyone is saying hello to everyone. Moonstar says no TV, no internet news. Yep. Adele says I don't watch the news. Yeah, it can be very depressing. It really can be. Hey, Coyote Heart, Destiny, and the Sylph says when the folks have been linked to child sex trafficking, uh, I'm not sure. Yeah, but that would be someone that I would take off my list of people that if they disagreed with me, absolutely on that, Coyote Heart. Nora says trying to stay away from YouTube. I have not had it in 20 years. Well, I can't stay away from YouTube. Because I do hear about a lot of interesting things on YouTube that I sometimes follow up on. So I kind of do keep abreast of all the different, I keep abreast with Fox, with CNN, with News Watch. I look at both sides, hear what everyone's saying, and see if there's any value. Because sometimes even someone who or position I disagree with makes valid points, that I have to acknowledge. Yeah, well, that's kind of a valid point. Sue PR Brookman says, I'm wearing my pearls every day. Yes, yes. You know what? Don't have a house that no one can sit down on the furniture. Don't have things you can't enjoy every day. I so agree, PR. Sue Hull says, set a time limit for yourself. It will damage your soul. That is a good idea, Sue, to set a time limit and don't overindulge in negativity on the two. Billy Boo says, I do not watch the news. I can be biased on my own. That's true. I agree. Vaughn says, I agree, Carol. I'm addicted to political talk radio. I know. I am too. And sometimes I'll go, oh, I'll talk to them. You dummy, how could you say that? Or I'll say, yeah, I agree. I don't know. It's almost like I'm watching a football game sometimes. Um, People don't have to agree to disagree. And people don't can disagree but still agree to be pleasant about it also. Sandy D says yes, so is Diana Boss. And keeping up with Colorado, we can stand together as Americans. Absolutely. That's one thing we all have in common. We're all children of God and we all are Americans. Absolutely. Absolutely. uh I'm not sure about Tom Hanks and Shelley. um let's see. Oh, Sylvie says, I haven't had TV in over 20 years, too. Life is good. Wow. Wow. Piggy says, you're forgetting all the rules and regulations that go along with tiny house. Most of the people I know that have done it ended up spending more money than an actual house. Just keep that in mind. Well, it depends. It depends where you're doing your tiny house because some areas are very, very friendly to tiny houses, and have rules and regulations. Some have even waived for accessory dwelling units if they're tiny. They've even waived accessory dwelling units is another unit, say in your backyard. They've even waived the permitting fees. And in California, they've had a law that went into place that if you apply under certain conditions where you're going to be renting to low income, they have to get your permit process going within 90 days. So, yeah, there are some places probably that people have not done their research and went forward when it probably wasn't the best area to do it in. But there are other places that are very friendly towards tiny houses. You just have to know where, and you have to do your research before you get involved. I wouldn't. I'm not jumping into my project without having all my I's dotted and my T's crossed because that's a remedy and a recipe for disaster. So, um, Violet is saying hi to Allison from Travel Snacks. Nora says, Sylvia, it helps a lot, but I also need to stay away from YouTube. That's where I get my news. Okay. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. I am feeling pretty good right now, Linda. Um, Sylvie says the algorithms in social media are dividing us, um, inundating us with the same stuff over and over. They are responsible for the outrage and division we have today. Um, I think the on media they're just repeating what's actually happening out there. Now, sometimes they do amplify it, absolutely, but a lot of times they're repeating what is there and they're saying it over and over and over, and or they're repeating things that are not false that are being said, and that is a problem too. So there are some problems with that, Sylvie. I agree. um, Marta says, I watch TV to stay aware. In junior high we had a class called current events, and you had to write a small paper on what you saw on TV. Polite discourse. Yeah, I would like to get back to polite discourse. That would be, wouldn't that be wonderful if we could get back to polite discourse? That's gone by the way. Uh, Peggy says, apparently none of you have seen an emergency room. Do you know who they're filled with and who's paying for all that? Well, emergency rooms are to a great degree filled with people who don't have regular medical. They're also filled with they're filled with a lot of people who are illegal aliens, but they're also filled with a lot of American citizens. I had a friend who has since passed on. Um, Her Medicaid, I think it was, would not pay for her to go to the doctor for a certain condition, which was ridiculous. The doctor's visit would have cost her $200, but they would pay for her to go to the emergency room to get treated for the same medical condition, which probably cost $1,500. Now, I ask you, does that make sense? So, a lot of people go to the emergency room because their medical coverage on Medicaid won't pay for certain things, but it'll pay for an emergency room visit. So, I mean, there's a lot wrong with the system. Uh, Violet at Content Boutique says, there was a time I had no fear. Now I'm cautious about everyone. Yeah, I remember growing up and having very, very little fear. I mean, I've always been cautious, but I didn't have the concern. And I guess the best word is suspicion. I didn't have the suspicion about total strangers that I have now. And that's a sad thing, but in many cases a necessary thing, you know. Yeah, it has gotten worse um, because of the election. Vaughn says she watches Christian YouTube. That helps. Some of it is helpful. Some of it, they're perpetrating falsehoods. But I'm not going to get into that. But you have to be careful even on that, Vaughn. Violet says, "Oh yeah, I said that." Uh, Boomer in the Burb says, "Yes, staying aware is important to me too." Yeah. Nora says, Piggy, I've seen the emergency room many times, unfortunately, with my husband. It had all kinds of people there. Not sure what you're saying. Yeah, I know what Piggy's saying, but there are all kinds of people there. But it is somewhere that immigrants go to because they don't have health care. But there are all kinds of people there, as I shared based on my friend's story. There's all kinds of people in the emergency room. The young boy who fell was a citizen. The older woman who was in the emergency room. So it's filled with a you know all the whole spectrum in the emergency room. Hey, Selena, we're getting ready to go camping. Camping. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My friend Selena says, I find that I have to pick my battles and choose when and if responding to other people's negativity. True. Because if you tend to chase every rabbit hole, you'll be exhausted. And I've had to learn that because you know me, Selena. But I'm not even going to go there. So I have had to be wiser in choosing my battles. I That's a very good point, Selena. It really is. Um, Vaughn Rose says, Martin, I remember current events class. We always had interesting topics in Newsweek magazine or some magazine. Yes. All right, folks. Yeah, Sylvie, years ago, no one did seem to care that much about politics, but excuse me. Sorry, folks. But that's changed. Well, I think I'm going to have another one. Excuse me. There's always more than one sneeze. All right. Moonstar says, I appreciate my friends who will call me out if I become too gloomy doomy. Those are good friends. Those are good friends that do that, Moonstar. Well, I'm going to go down and see if there's any number ones and any content creators. Oh boy. Excuse me. Good gracious. Maybe if I have a little bit of something to drink, it'll stop this sneezing. I don't know if that even makes sense or not, but hey. Cheryl from Arizona, Cheryl AZ says emotions are a chemical response to our thoughts. Change our thoughts, not as easy, but worth it. That's true to some degree. I agree with that, Cheryl. All right. I am going on. Yes, Noreen, prayers for Lindy. Let me get. Oh my goodness. Let me get a Kleenex. Hold on. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to wipe my nose with this little towel. All right. Okay, folks. I am heading out of here. Prayers for Linda, yes, and prayers for Linda and Lindy. Emily says, I try to remember that God is still in control. And that's what we have to remember. He's still on the throne and he's still in control. And everything, as a pastor once said that I heard in a sermon, he said, God may not cause everything, but it has to go through a God filter, and he has to allow things that happen. So if it's happening, he has allowed it for whatever reason he deems to allow it. And I know sometimes that's hard to understand because you look at some terrible things and you say, but God, this? But I what can I say? Excuse me for wiping my nose. All right. Well, I'm going on. I'm sorry. I'm going to be skipping. I know I'm skipping all of these comments. I am sorry. I'm sorry here. I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to get down to the ones and the C's. I'm sorry. I know I am skipping a lot of probably very, very important. Hey, Cheryl Katz, I didn't see you earlier. Hello. Sorry. Hey, dearest Dawn, I didn't see you. I want to say hello to you. But I have to get off of here, so I got it. My brother Donald was telling me today, we were talking earlier, and he goes, on every live, you're at least 15 minutes behind our comments. I said, I know, but I want to give every comment that I do address the proper attention. So as a result, I get so far behind. Um, uh, um, Biddy Boo, this is Biddy Boo. I did see this. I'm passing. Biddy Boo says, here in Oklahoma, we are assigned nurses from the time we walk in until the time we leave, and they're pretty much by our side. That's what happened to me, and that's what should happen. But Lindy was hearing them saying, I didn't say this, but I'll say it in the video too. She was hearing people say, the staff, well, we don't have anyone to assign to her. Well, what are we going to do? We don't have anyone to assign. So they were understaffed. I'm not going to go there. I don't want to turn this into a rant. I'll rant more than yes, Jason is taking care of Lindy's pup. He absolutely is. And Marley just loves Jason, so that works out good. All right, I'm going down. I don't see any ones or C's. Hey, Lindy's awesome van adventure says no sleeping. Thanks, everyone. Oh boy. Well, I hope you're getting some sleep and rest, Lindy. I hope you are, because you need to be rested up to go into this surgery, and this is major surgery. Magnesium. Maggie says magnesium is responsible for over 300 processes in the Bible. I saw a bee and just assumed in the body. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? No wonder my doctor wants me to add magnesium. PR Brookman says, Lindy, did you get the big hug that they sent you? I guess so. Lindy says no, but okay, let's all send Lindy a big hug. Lindy, we're sending you a big virtual hug, okay? Everyone in here is sending Lindy a hug. All right? So hopefully you're go and feel all these hugs coming over to you, Lindy. Hey, Donald, my brother is in the house. Donald's in the house. All right, I know I'm Pierre Brookman says, laughing out loud, Carol stepping out of her lane. Hey, that's a constant circumstance with me. I'm always out of my lane. What can I say? You know? All right, folks. Oh gosh, I'm so behind on these comments. Oh, let me see. Okay, I see some ones here. All right, so Heavenly Me, hello, Heavenly Me, everyone. You know how we do. You know how we knew our newbies. We tell them hello. So Lily Vaughn, number one, welcome, welcome. Marilyn, welcome in the house. Welcome. Don's on a roll is a content creator. Boomer in the Burbs is a content creator. Go over and watch these channels, would you? Also, Lava Lindy's Awesome Van Adventure is a content creator. Nora from Arcuda 2001 has a Nora Kaig Etsy account. So go over and check that out. Nora, would you drop your Theory, I see it. They draw a link to your art shop. Christmas is coming up, holidays, Hanukkah, everything's coming up. So you guys if you're looking for a beautiful gift, Nora has some beautiful, stunning artwork. And if you have a pet that you really love and want to immortalize, she does a lot of pet portraits. In fact, Nora, I'm going to have you I wasn't going to tell you this, but I'll tell you on this. I'm going to have you do a portrait of Cuddles. I got to do some pictures of him. I'm trying to decide whether I want you to add the white on his muzzle now or have him, I don't know. I'll have to decide. You can tell me what you think. All right. Oh, you found me through Lindy's channel, Emily. That's so cool. All right. Marta says, in my town of Huber Heights, we barely get 5,000 to 6,000 people voting, and we have about 30 registered voters. That is so annoying. So annoying. And then the people who will be complaining the most when things don't go their way or when stuff gets cut that they need? The people who don't vote. And I'm sorry. You've lost your right to complain if you don't vote. That's just, I'm not going to say anything else. All right. PR Brookman is content creator. Okay. All of you folks go over and say hello to these content creators and watch their videos and give them some support and love as a fellow Globie. Hey there. What is this? I'm trying to see. Is this Carmi? I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses, but it looks like Carmi. Hello, is a newbie and so happy to have found your channel. Number one, first time in the house. Well, welcome, welcome. Go on over, everyone, and greet our newbies and let them feel some love and let them know that we're glad to have them here. Yeah, some people do get much too nasty politically, Cheryl. I agree. Don says, Heavenly Me and Lily Vaughn, let us know what your site is so we can go over and check it out. Amen. Amen. All right. I see. And also Keeping Up with Colorado, I know, has a channel, as does Redheaded Riding Hood. She's not in here today, but she has a channel. All right, folks. I think, hey, if not when, I didn't see you earlier. If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. If you watch too much, you're misinformed. How do you figure out where to balance it? But that's good. I like that. That's a very good point. You're absolutely right. Hey, the Woodland Gardener is a content creator. Go over and watch the Woodland Gardener. Check them out and give them some Globie love. Have I missed anyone that was on here that put a number one or a C that I didn't call out? If I did, thank you, Cheryl. Stay safe and keep Lindy in your prayers. Yes. Thank you, Nora. Have a good weekend, everyone. Yes, thank you, Nora, for dropping your link. And can all my moderators in here, if you have a link to your channel, please drop it. Janet McDonald says, progress when you're looking for positives. Fed cut 0%. Oh, interest by 5.5 in fall. We save as it's between air conditioning and heat seasons. Yes, that's true. So thank you for that positive. We save on air conditioning and don't yet need the heat. So this is that sweet spot. Just like in spring, we have that sweet spot. So, and that's why we're going camping now. Oh, we're going on a little road trip. So I will take you. I'm not going to tell you where we're going, but it's a beautiful spot. Haven't been there before, so I will take you on there when we go. Uh Yes, Miss Ned says I could be wrong, but I think GoFundMe takes 40%. Cash App is free. Yeah, that's why I suggested going over to Lindy's Cash App. Uh, all right. I haven't. Thank you, everyone. Lily Vaughn says, "Do you live in your vehicle full time? New sub? No, I do not. I do not. I'm a part time. Although I have gone 100 and over 120,000 miles in about 4.5 years. So that's a lot of time spent in my van. But no, I'm not full time. I have a home base, and I will probably always have a home base because I have a daughter who's on the autism spectrum. So I will always keep a home base for her. But I am trying to get her more independent so I can be gone more and more and more. That's the goal. And but we all, whether your child has special needs or not, you want to help them to become as independent as they can. Because I'm 71, I'm not going to be around, all that much longer. I'm praying for 90, but I'm trying to get her ready. But Lindy is full time in her van. Um, hey CW, all right, Katura, hello. No, I don't have sniffles. I just, for whatever reason, I sneeze, and when I sneeze, my nose runs. So I don't know, but I don't have sniffles. I'm feeling good. Um, uh, let's see, Lily. I mentioned that Carol has a home base and travels part time. Yes, that's what I do. Thank you, Nora. Marilyn says, I'm new and late to this live. What is the name of Lindy's channel? It's Lava, Lava, with a dot after L.A.V.A. Lava Lindy's Awesome Van Adventure is the name of her channel. Can someone, one of my moderators, drop the link for Lindy's channel, please? If someone could, one of my moderators could drop the link for Lindy's channel, I would greatly appreciate that. I don't know how to drop that link. I can say the name of it, but I love it if you would drop the link. Yes, hugs to Lindy Moonstar. All right, we're going to drop that link, and as soon as that link gets dropped, I am. Hey, Kalina, how are you? Kaliana, I hope I'm saying that right, but hello, Kaliana, how are you? Um, I hope I've said hello to everyone. Um, yes, may bright light surround you, Lindy. Hey, Spirit Wind Live. Spirit Wind Live. Spirit Wind View. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Listen to me. Thank you, CW Style 3. Blessings to you as well. Okay. All right. I'm going to be heading out. Did we? Oh, Chef Santa Travels. Hello. I'm so glad to see you. I know you were in the hospital. Are you out of the hospital yet? I have been praying for you. I have truly been praying for you, Chef Santa. And I'm hopeful we'll meet up one day and be able to do some camping together. Hey, Biddy Boo is a brown. It's first time in the house with that lovely name, uh, honoring her pug. So say hello, everyone, to Biddy Boo, and go over and check out Chef Santa's travels. And as I said earlier, keeping up with Colorado, and drop your links, please. Chef Santa is still in the hospital, maybe going home tomorrow. Chef Santa, you know my email, gloriouslifeonwheels@gmail.com. Email me if there's anything I can do to help you. I really mean that. So email me, Chef Santa. You know my email. Oh, Biddy Boo Brown is also a content creator. Okay. So go over and check out Biddy Boo Brown. Thank you, Kuliana. Everyone, yes. There, thank you for dropping your link, Lori, from Keeping Up with Colorado. Spirit Wind View says, I only follow credible independent news from a godly point of view. Okay, it's related to the Bible prophecy. Yep, you have to know it so you're not deceived. True that. All right. All right. I'm going to go over and check out Biddy Boo Brown. Uh, Susie Aspen says 3% is GoFundMe charges. I just looked. I don't know. I really don't know. I know that when you do, what do you call it? One of those things through YouTube, um, it's 40% they take. That's why when I was doing things for people and helping them and people were sending me donations, I was saying, stop, 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 because they're taking 40% out. I'm paying taxes on the whole amount or the remainder. So unless I ask, I'll just handle it myself. I'll just handle taking care of, the circumstances. I rarely ask because I do put aside some money from what I make on my channel specifically to help people that I encounter that are in need. And that's something I have done for a long time. So, but I do appreciate you. Yeah, YouTube does take 40%, Susie. Miss Ned said that's good to know, Susie. I had a friend say that GoFundMe took 40%, so she must have meant YouTube. Yeah, I don't really know. I know YouTube takes 40%. I don't know about the others except for Cash App, I think takes the least, if anything. All right. Hey, Betty Sue Long. Hello, hello. Thank you, praying for Lindy. Thank you, Keeping Up with Colorado, for dropping Lindy's link. That was what I was waiting to see. All right, you all, I am going to be heading out. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your weekend. It's just lovely here. I think tomorrow we may head down to the beach and just enjoy the beach. I love each and every one of you. I hope your journeys are filled with joy and blessings. Stay safe out there. Stay positive. And I will see you next week. And I will have some videos coming out, including the rant I'm going to do on the situation with Lindy. But I'll see you guys next week on the live. All right.